Claudia Aguirre is a powerful woman. Just ask the charity she runs, because they made a whole video about her ability to make other women powerful too.
Hi, I'm Claudia Aguirre, and I'm the president and CEO of Baker Ripley in Houston.
The politically connected East End charity is 116 years old, and its ties to Judge Lina Hidalgo, they run deep.
I'm Alex Triantafillis, or Alex T for short. The T also stands for tough.
Hidalgo's former chief of staff, the guy in that failed congressional campaign ad, was the director of immigration and economic opportunity at Baker Ripley before he became Hidalgo's chief of staff, her right-hand man. Then he was busted in that COVID contract scandal with two other members of the county judge's staff. And Hidalgo has been on the warpath about the DA ever since.
I don't know what the fuck she's threatened you with. Yes.
Aguirre became the president of Baker Ripley before COVID hit, but we were in the throes of the pandemic when she appeared on Channel 2.
Our number one concern right now is getting people fed, getting people rental assistance.
And the Hidalgo administration has awarded gobs of money to Baker Ripley, first under the CARES Act, then under the American Rescue Plan. $164.3 million in just 3 years. Taxpayers helped fuel a staggering increase in the charity's revenue. Baker Ripley's latest tax return in 2021 reported $583 million in revenue. There are transactions with offshore accounts and investments in Central America.
I know what it means to struggle.
Maybe in the old days, but while so many were struggling with the consequences of COVID, you weren't told that Baker Ripley's CEO was raking in the dough. In 2019, the year before COVID hit, she was making a salary of $310,000. This year, she's making $479,000, and that's just her base salary. With benefits, it tops $500,000. Her compensation from the charity has gone up 54% since COVID days. How about yours?
When you're in the arena, you've got to deliver.
It was Angela Blanchard who transformed the former neighborhood centers into the huge nonprofit Baker Ripley is today. She retired way back in 2017, said she would only do special projects when the charity board asked. So we asked what she's done, and the charity refused to tell us. We asked because since 2018, after she left, she's been paid more than $1 million, the biggest chunk coming in 2020.
Once a week, Houston residents pack into one of the busiest eviction courts in Texas.
Harris County eviction courts were still packed this spring. The Harris County Administration Office tells us Baker Ripley has already provided rental assistance to more than 18,000 households in a 2-year period. But when you probe deeper, Lina Hidalgo's administration clamps on their veil of secrecy. Rental assistance averaged around $4,700 a family. But we noticed that one family of 4 was given 47,000 taxpayer dollars on just one day. Harris County tells us their identity will be kept a secret.
We should be able to answer any question you've got. Until there's transparency, then there's suspicion.
The Harris County program created to help renters during the pandemic is under the microscope.
Those were the TV headlines last September, when an outside audit found shocking evidence of fraud and abuse in the first batch of taxpayer money given to Baker Ripley under the CARES Act,
including uncollected overpayments of more than $400,000.
Hundreds of landlords were overpaid, hundreds of thousands of dollars misspent. Baker Ripley routinely paying rent for months not even owed. Didn't even check if people were getting money from other housing programs. One county official told us the audit results were pathetic, but the Hidalgo administration has rewarded Baker Ripley since that horrible audit with another $130+ million. To safeguard the money spent on the American Rescue Plan by Baker Ripley, Harris County hired a firm called Dolcefino Consulting from up north. More of your money. But Dolcefino Consulting won't even let us come to their office to ask questions. They've been awarded $32 million and have already spent more than $12 million of your money to date. And Lena Hidalgo's administration, you guessed it, they're hiding any compliance reviews done by the company on that expensive rental assistance program at Baker Ripley. This is the interim county administrator, the public servant you pay a bunch of money to make sure a lot of our COVID rescue money is spent properly. The perfect person to ask.
Deanna, can we coordinate a time to talk to you? We've been trying to get answers for quite a while. Can we, ma'am?
Why are we putting a spotlight on Baker Ripley and their use of COVID rescue dollars? Because of that growing mystery surrounding the November election. We now know from interviews and research that the polling location at Baker Ripley opened 4 hours late on election day. No poll opened later.
We didn't have the things to get the machines going. I have never seen nothing like it before.
John Ether was the precinct judge at the Ripley House poll on navigation. He told the election administration he had no transportation, no way to get supplies. At 6:30 that morning, the doors at the poll were locked. Ether and the alternate judge finally found a way in, but there were no campaign workers. None of the voting machines were set up, and the key to turn them on once they were set up was missing.
As disorganized as that was, it wasn't worth it.
How do I describe it? To me, it was a disgrace.
What happened at the Baker Ripley poll could just be the product of sheer incompetence by election administrator Clifford Tatum. He's been hiding the truth from voters, concealing his communications on Election Day, months after being ordered by the Attorney General to release them. We caught up with him in Austin.
Clifford, Wayne Dolcefino has a message for you, and that's sunshine. What are you so afraid of people finding out?
But since Baker Ripley's funding is so tied to the Democrats in control in Harris County, the suspicion has mounted.
I think it's disgusting.
You think it happened on purpose?
I believe it did.
Yes, I think it's suspicious too.
I can hear the critics now. Cindy Siegel is a Republican Party chairwoman, a partisan.
So it looks suspicious.
It looks suspicious.
But this is Mark Jones, the political science professor at Rice University, who says the Baker Ripley connection cannot be ignored.
Completely tied into money that comes from Lena Hidalgo and other liberal activists. So this was going to be their ace in the hole.
Jones suspects what happened here was orchestrated in advance. Monitors from the Liberal Texas Organizing Project just happened to be there, already armed with declarations for voters to sign. That was the evidence used in court hours later to get the vote extended by 1 hour for all polls.
It could be coincidence, but the fact that it was Baker Ripley, that Top was there, and that they were ready and to get that out suggests to me that Rodney Ellis had already arranged that, or someone else.
In the first election challenge that went to court, lawyers for judicial candidate Aaron Lunsford accused Democratic lawyers of lying to the judge who extended the voting by an hour. They told her ballot paper problems were being addressed. We now know 68 polls were allowed to run out of paper and forced to turn away voters. Most of them were in places Republicans usually win. But Baker Ripley is a poll where 75% of the votes went to Democrats. They had plenty of ballot paper when more ballot paper showed up there.
And then they brought us paper close to like 4 o'clock, like stacks of paper. I said, I didn't request it or order it. I said, we have more than enough paper.
It almost seemed like someone was planning for a possible last-minute surge in voters. The hearing to extend voting hadn't even happened yet.
I have never viewed myself as a conspiracy theorist, but when you have these things happen, you have to wonder why.